Good morning. What a blessing to be asked to connect with you on such a special day to our country. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Koester, and I am honored to unexpectedly step up from being vice president to council president. Service to the community and country comes natural to me, as it was ingrained for me for generations past. I am actually a third-generation Army veteran. I enlisted in the Army while being a junior in high school. My career path was to serve our soldiers as a combat medic. While my friends went away to enjoy summer between junior and senior year of high school, I went on to learn how to be a United States Army soldier. My church family played a huge part in my life as they kept letters coming to me and even had a small celebration for me upon my return. Church family has always played a huge role in my life. My life was struck with great tragedy. When I was in elementary school. But as I believed, then God has a plan. Because of this tragedy, my 70-year-old grandparents became my caregivers. My grandparents taught me about Servin leadership. They were entrepreneurs owning many successful businesses, but they always found time to serve our community. My grandfather ran church fellowship. My grandfather also served as a city commissioner and served as the director of the Board of Mental Health for 30 years. After his stroke, people came to his bedside and they asked him for guidance. My grandmother volunteered at the hospital for 35 years. She also had a business degree. She was born in 1909. After my grandmother lost her eyesight, she was legally blind. She still wanted to serve the community. She did that by making bandages for war-ridden third world countries. She would sit for hours listening to books on tape and ripping old bed sheets and rolling them into bandages. Then they were sent overseas. As a young teenager, tragedy struck again. Both of my grandparents fell ill and had to be resuscitated at church. My grandfather had a stroke while at church. He was literally saved by the grace of God. The woman who resuscitated him in church was named Grace. As he recovered, I was completely taken care of by my church family. I was alone at the lake house, and my grandmother and grandfather were at church. At the hospital. My church family pulled together, and they made meals for me. They made sure to sit and pray with me. And they got me to school. 14 years ago, I found St. Armands Key Lutheran Church. I found it when I was vacationing in our St. Armands Key family home, and we fell in love with it. As a new mom visiting St. Armands Key, I loved our church. I loved walking through these doors and feeling welcome. Upon moving down here from Michigan, we continued to attend St. Armands Key Lutheran Church. I really loved how welcoming everybody was to Abigail and I. As she got older, she loved to walk to church. She even learned to ride her bike to church. And she rode her bike in her little dress, and if you might remember her, she had little dollies that wore the same dress as her. She really, really loved Annalise and Christine as they would spoil her with cookies as soon as she walked through the door. It was always great for her to have sugar in the morning. Upon joining the church, I was quickly asked to serve. Imagine that. For many years, we attended the 9 a.m. service, and I would leave the service just before it was over so I could co-teach Sunday school with Bob Stovall. Leading the youth ministry was a big part of my life, but as a single mom, life became very busy, and with working and volunteering just way too much in the community, I stepped down from teaching Sunday school. Then 2 of my favorite women took me to lunch, along with Pastor Mark, and they asked me to step up, to be on the church council and to represent the youth ministry. I prayed hard, and I got my answer. Those became some of the wonderful times of my life as I served this congregation for 3 years as the youth minister leader representative on church council. Again, life became busy because I do work full-time as a consultant focusing on the national epidemic of our children not reading on grade level. And just like my grandparents, I am an entrepreneur. I own a company that improves people's lives through fitness, getting them fit to be well. On top of that, I have an amazing daughter, who most of you I hope know. She loves to volunteer in the community and has already completed her 100 service hours that they asked of high schoolers. She's just a freshman. She was just inducted into the Armands Key Club, and she also serves as the ambassador for Peace Jam for her school. This is a program where children work with Nobel Peace Prize winners. I have served on multiple nonprofit boards, and in January will be the first time in my life I will not serve in a leadership role on a board since moving down here 9 years ago. I do now and always will be stepping up serving this church and its mission, and this is something I have witnessed in others. It is what I did this summer when asked to step in and serve as church council president. I must admit, the first thing I did is I prayed, and I really prayed hard when this happened. And then I reached out to some of my church elders and past presidents of the church, and even the president that stepped down. Do you know every phone call, every request for a visit, and every conversation was met with, "When would you like to meet?" I know that our congregation is filled with loving congregation members, and everyone is willing to step up. It speaks volumes about the love that so many of you have for this church and its congregation. As the Holy Spirit has led me through these last few months of serving as council president, I have been blessed to have love, guidance, and lots of phone calls with many of you. Some of you have stepped up in the hallway and thanked me for my service, and others have offered to assist me. It is my pleasure to step up and be a part of this. It is my honor to serve with my very limited time, talents, and treasures. In conclusion, I believe in supporting the church and growing in the future, so this church will always be here, as it has for our generations, and for my daughter when she is my age or your age. It is a blessing to watch her be confirmed next weekend at the 9 a.m. service. I am hopeful for the church future and for being a part of what God has planned for St. Armands Key Lutheran Church and for all of us. I do ask that you consider what time, talents, and treasures you're willing to give to strengthen our church, especially as the Stewardship Committee asks people to step up.
Thank you, Heather, for your service to the country and for your service as president of this congregation.